Welcome to Pass It On, Connecting Soul to Soul, a podcast introducing you to courageous souls. These people are taking their spark in life and passing it on, lighting their corner of the world. I'm your host, Tammy Stuhr, best-selling author, speaker, and CEO of Author My Day, a company inspiring courage. I interview people about how they exercise their courage muscle and use their story to inspire you to live with a courageous heart. Let's get started with today's guest. Dr. Jeanne Dill Svobodny, an educator for over 50 years, has transitioned into retirement from the classroom into a world of storytelling. In 2015, Jeanne wrote It's Too Soon to Quit, A Story of Hope, which describes her journey living with a panic disorder. Recently, Jeanne has written her first children's book, Annie's 4th of July. And I'll add to that, she is a best-selling author now.
What?
Her vision
I
am SOW, serving others well by providing readers hope. Jeanne gets quiet inspiration from the beautiful bluffs along the Mississippi River in Minnesota. Jeanne's blended family of 6 adult children, 9 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren, that is one busy family, add a personal touch to all of her stories. And I will add to this that she is also a published researcher in the field of education, helping staff, teachers deal with emotional social issues. What an honor to have Dr. Jeanne Dill Svobodny with us today. Welcome, Jeanne.
Oh, thank you so much, Tammy. It is such an honor to be here with you.
Jeanne, where are you joining us from today?
I am joining you from my home in Winona, Minnesota. And I live by the Mississippi River, well, about 2.5 miles from the Mississippi River. And here in Winona, we just have the most beautiful bluffs. Beautiful bluffs. And right now they are just lush green. I love June in Winona. It's gorgeous.
That's
so that's where I am
springtime.
today. Yeah, it's springtime.
New life.
Yes. A neighbor gave me some lilacs yesterday, and every time I go in the kitchen, the aroma is just wonderful. Yeah.
So, my first question for you, Jeanne, as I was reading Annie's 4th of July and also speed reading through your first book for adults. And the question that came up to my mind is, did you write the book you needed as a child? I see so many similar themes between your two books. So did you write the book that you needed as a child?
That is a very interesting question, Tammy. I haven't thought about that. But possibly. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But I just know I loved the 4th of July celebration in my little hometown. And I also just love the community spirit in my hometown as a child. And I don't know, I just felt like I really belonged there and was a part of it. And so I don't know if it was the book I needed. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good one.
I had a very clear vision as I read the book about sitting down with my grandkids on my lap, reading your book, going to buy firecrackers.
Yes.
I'm so excited to have this book to kick off my 4th of July celebration and life with my own family. So thank you for this gift.
Oh, you are so welcome. So welcome. Yeah, a couple reasons that I wanted to write the book. I've thought a lot about the value of small community annual celebrations. And I know in my life and my family, we have been able to establish these wonderful traditions that we've held, for me, for 60 plus years. And I don't know, it just meant so much to me and my family. And as I've observed moving around the United States, and I've observed other places that have annual celebrations and other families coming back where I was a principal, oh, a lot of the young men and middle-aged men come back and play with the baseball teams they played with, back then. And, and I just love that about community celebrations and just the value that they have. So I did want to write the book and to say thank you to the people that worked hard year after year after year after year to provide me and my family these fun experiences. And so anyway, I'm really glad that I've been able to do that and kind of honor them, because it takes a lot of work to plan and organize and then execute these kind of celebrations. So I just wanted to honor them through the book.
Well, you definitely did that. And I love how you don't ever say what town it is.
Oh,
And
yes.
it is such a versatile book. Like when I think of the 4th of July celebrations I've been to, and for my earlier years, my earlier adult years, my goal was to spend the 4th of July in a different city across our nation.
Oh, really?
And so I have been coast to coast on the 4th of July and everywhere
Oh,
in between.
oh,
And last year I got to spend it up in Colorado in the mountains at Pikes Peak area.
oh,
And so it hits, it doesn't matter where
no.
it's at. And so I'm excited for people to be able to share this book and relive their 4th of July celebrations as
Yeah,
they're reading it to their children and their
yeah.
grandchildren.
Oh,
It's
good,
it's a
good.
special book, and great conversation starter for sure.
Yes, yes. I hope so. I really hope so. I
So
had
so
lots of fun writing it and thinking back on my childhood memories. The story itself isn't exactly like my hometown celebration. Like in the story, there are carnival rides. Well, my hometown was kind of too small for the carnival rides, the big carnival rides. But I thought by adding the carnival rides, it would be a little bit more relatable to children in larger communities that had that.
right.
So, yeah, so it doesn't exactly parallel, my hometown, but much of it does.
And there's the parade scene. Like
Oh,
everybody's going
yes.
to be able to
Oh,
relate to the parade, right? And the
absolutely.
fireworks show.
Yes, yes.
Outside of, I will tell you this, my very favorite, like your illustrator did a phenomenal job.
Did she?
I do have a favorite picture.
Oh, which one is your favorite?
It is the one where Annie is holding the flag,
The flag at the end. Yes.
and there
Yes.
is a display of fireworks, and I won't give it
Yes.
away because
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. But that display of fireworks, how
Uh-huh.
that was captured, I have such goosebumps right now explaining it. But as Annie's looking up at that special display, and it's unlike any display of fireworks that we've seen before.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I love that.
Oh, wonderful. Great. I have done a few school presentations, and
Yes.
I asked the students what their favorite illustration was. And
Uh-huh.
that picture was often their favorite. Not totally, but often that particular picture was their favorite.
I
It
think
was,
it's gonna be a favorite of a lot of people.
yeah, good,
So it's
good.
very, very unique to your book for sure. So, and you give out flags when you do your school visits,
Yes,
right?
yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Well, I loved how Annie and the other kids are sitting there holding their little flags in the parade route.
Yes,
And
yes.
then looking back, I've been watching your videos of you doing school visits and how those kids are holding their flags. I'm like,
I
oh, it's
know.
so
I know.
relatable.
They love, 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 love those flags. But I asked them, I said, now, how many of you kids ride the bus going home? And they'll raise their hands. And I said, you have to promise me that you keep these flags in your backpack. Otherwise, the bus drivers will get mad at me.
Oh. Jeannie, you have so much experience in schools. You worked as an educator, as in special education, and then as school administration. Um, when you chose to do your research for your doctorate, I'm guessing, you
Yes, yes,
chose the emotional social side of education. Tell
yes.
me a little bit about why you chose that and what became important to you.
Well, I chose it because I think it, especially back when I did my research back in 2011, 12, I felt like there was just a real need for educators to understand the social emotional component of students. And I felt like there was a real need for administrators to understand that social emotional component of students and of staff. And so I really wanted to dive into that. And it was really neat. I used a profile. McCrell, I think, from out from Denver, Colorado, had produced it, and principals took this questionnaire, and then representative of their staff took it, and then we could compare. And I don't know, the principals that I worked with said it really helped them learn what their own style of social emotional leadership was,
Hmm,
and that knowledge of that and what that represented made them stronger leaders, they felt. Yeah. And one thing I learned that I thought was really interesting, kind of, I did this like through a big change. What social emotional characteristics are important for leaders to have to make that change less scary? And one of the things I found was that leaders just need to constantly be reassuring, 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 reassuring. And so even if administrators learned that one thing, um, I felt like, well, it was valuable.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, as you look at this great exodus from teaching,
Yes.
and it breaks my heart because, as a courage coach and a life coach, so many of the people that come to me are in education.
Hmm.
And I realize that they come to me because they've already made that decision. It's just the courage to step out of education and try a different career.
Hmm.
But Jeannie, they're phenomenal educators.
I
Many
know.
of them I have watched. What will it take, or what do you see as a solution to keeping great educators in our, whether it's public or private school system?
Oh, wow, that's a loaded question. I think the biggest thing for teachers is to feel valued.
Mm,
If teachers feel valued, I mean, they work so hard, and they will give and give and give and give. But often they don't feel valued because they don't get paid as well as other professions. I wish that we kind of had the same philosophy as some other countries do about paying their teachers. Also about having support systems in place to support the teachers with the diverse classrooms that they have, and the students with all the needs that they have. I just think it's just hard, hard work right now. And I feel like there just needs to be more effective support systems in place for teachers to be able to do the job that they want to do. Teachers want to do the best job that they possibly can
mhm.
for their students,
Yeah,
but often they just get so exhausted that that they don't see that they're doing the job that they envision themselves doing.
right, right.
So
Absolutely.
And I think too, along with that valued part, I think administrators really need to value their staff, not just the teachers, but the whole staff,
Mhm.
because it takes everybody working together to make a building work and education work for our students. So, I just think thanking them and little things of recognition go a long, long way.
Yeah, absolutely. So you served a lot of years as a school administrator, as a school principal,
Hmm.
and within that, you wrote a book.
Yes.
And that book, um, in my mind, was very vulnerable.
Yes. Yes.
And it's the book, It's Too Soon to Quit, a story of hope. And I'm going to read a line from it, or
Okay.
actually, I'm going to read a paragraph from it. And then I like you to talk about, right? There's the book. It's too
There's the
soon to
book.
quit, right? And
Not a
Jeannie's a
big
runner.
book. It's an easy read book, a little easy read book, but yeah, yeah.
And so this paragraph to me just was like the amount of courage it had to take to write the book when you're still in the workforce, you're still supervising people. But yet, Brene Brown says that vulnerability is a huge part of courageous leadership.
Hmm.
And that's the difference between being a manager or administrator and a leader.
Hmm.
And so I'm going to read this and then I'd like you to react to it.
Okay.
God has been nudging me for a long time to share my story with others. Finally, I have the courage to do so. As
Mm.
I think back and relive those challenging days, the uncomfortable feelings come back, and I'm afraid all over again. However, if one person gains knowledge or understanding, grows closer to God, and is helped because of my written story, then reliving the fear, uncertainty, confusion, and anxious feelings will have been well worth it.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. I get anxious just hearing you read that. Those feelings were so intense, so intense. And so it does come all back. And it was very hard writing the book because I was reliving it as I wrote it. And it was really, really hard. But I really felt strongly, as I said, for a long time. When I was going through that hard time, I there was a song by Sandy Patty. This is my story. This is my song. And I just thought, "Ah, this is my story. God wants me to tell this story at some point." And so I just had to do it. And my children, my daughters were really young, and um, our family moved around a little bit, and then my husband and I got a divorce. So life just happened, and I just didn't get around to writing the book. And I thought, I have got to write this book before, before any more time goes on. And I really, really wanted to be vulnerable and authentic, because when I was going through that hard time, it really helped me to listen to, we didn't have podcasts back then, but they had Focus on the Family, and they would interview people and they would share their stories. Those stories helped me so much, because I kept thinking, well, if they made it through that, whatever that was, God will help me through it too. And but yet sometimes they didn't say it as nitty-gritty as I would have liked to have heard them say, like, yes, it was hard for them. It was really, really hard, but what did that feel like? What was that like? So I did really want to try to communicate, what for me did it really feel like to have a panic attack and repeated panic attacks during the day, and how it was just hard to function. And and then I also wanted my teachers to know that about me, because um I think they I think they see me as a pretty professional woman, pretty accomplished,
Mhm.
but I wanted them to see, no. I wasn't, I mean, I've had problems too, and just like they have. And as an administrator, I always tried to think, they're coming to school each day. I don't know what they've been through the night before. I don't know, if they had a big argument with their spouse in the morning. I don't know if their babies were up all night, and I had, as a result of going through that, I had a lot of empathy for my staff and for the people that, I work with. And so there again, I just wanted them to know that about me. And I thought, well, I was kind of worried about the school board or somebody finding out, but I thought I really don't care at this point. By that time, I've been in education a long time, and I just thought, no, if they don't like it and they fire me, well, so be it, but no, no, they didn't. And I kept envisioning that I was writing this book for somebody out there. But as it turned out, most of the people that read the book were my friends, family, colleagues, school community. I did not market that book, which was kind of a mistake, but I was kind of insecure about being an author, and I just thought, well, if God wants somebody to read that book, he'll bring them to that book. And so I didn't do any marketing. So really, most of the people that read it were people that got the information by word of mouth. And so that made me even more vulnerable because I kept thinking, well, people out there in the United States will read this book and I don't know them, but hopefully it'll help somebody. But no, people that I knew were reading the book. Moms from my school were reading the book, and they knew that had really struggled. But, you know, a lot of them shared with me that they, had those struggles, if not those struggles, other struggles. So, I think it was courageous, it was scary, and I thought about that a lot. Will I be fired? But at that point, I just had to do it. Had to go for it. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad for my family's sake and for those people that have told me it was helpful to them that I did that. So yeah.
When you describe the panic attack and
Mhm.
how you're like wondering if you were having a heart attack,
Yes.
because you're sitting there in a restaurant, right, surrounded
Yes.
by friends and family.
Yes. Yes.
Um, it was really fascinating to me because I had always thought I had a panic attack 15 years ago.
Okay.
And I was driving and I had to pull over because I thought I was having a heart attack.
Yes.
And
Yes.
as you talk about this, like you always know, like God somehow like helps us, right? And at that
Yes.
moment, a friend that I only see twice a year, and we hardly ever, if ever, talk on the phone, calls me. And she
Oh.
said, hey, I heard that you're having kind of a rough day today. I'm just calling to check on you.
Oh.
I'm on the side of the road. I think I might be having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Ah.
so she started
Ah.
asking me questions. And she said, Tammy, I think you're having a panic attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so hearing you describe that
Yes.
made me go, she was right.
He was right. You did
She's
it.
right. It was a panic attack for real. Um, and so I
Yeah.
think the way that you chose to really lean into this
Hmm.
is important for everybody reading the book. And then the other ironic, like the soul to soul connection, right? So
Okay.
yesterday I'm on the phone with a friend
Okay.
and I tell them that I'm going to be interviewing you today for my podcast because
Uh-huh.
they were wondering like who's your next one, what's coming out.
Yes. Right.
And I
Right. Right.
said she wrote this book and
Uh-huh.
it's about living with panic attacks for 6 years. And they're like, I had a panic attack yesterday. I'm like,
Oh.
really? I didn't know that about you. And they're like, yeah, I don't know that I've ever had one before.
Oh.
And they're like,
Oh.
what's the name of the book?
Oh,
And
good.
I'm
Oh,
just like,
wow.
oh, the way that all of this gets brought together.
No, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I just can't believe all the connections that God orchestrates.
Right, right.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And yes, and back when I had them, I mean, I didn't know what a panic attack was. People didn't talk about panic attacks back then.
Right.
Now it's pretty prevalent, and a lot of young kids have panic attacks now. And oh, it just makes me so sad. And I don't really know why that is, just the stressors of life now, but it really makes me so sad that a lot of people are experiencing them because they are, if you had one, and you had to pull over. I mean, it is so frightening.
Mhm.
And you just feel so out of control and you don't know what's going on and you just can't understand it. And there were
Well,
times that I would have like 6 a day, or something like that. It was awful when at its worst. But yeah, but I had 2 little girls and you just have to keep going and God would give me. I really, really regret that I didn't journal more consistently during that time. Like almost every day, there would be some reassurance or some connection or something that I knew God had had his hand in it. Like you said, that friend called you, or you talked to this friend yesterday and she had a panic attack, and friends would send me a little note in the mail or call, or I would read a book and the words were just perfect for me. There was a sermon that the minister called "It's Too Soon to Quit." And that sermon, I just felt like he was just talking straight to me. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep going. It will get better. It will get better. Um, I have a sister who's a child psychiatrist. She would call me a lot and she would say, it will get better, Jeannie. It will get better. Just, hang in there. You can't make your environment smaller and smaller and smaller, otherwise you won't go out of the house. So you have to keep doing the things even though you're terrified. But through that, it really helped me understand some kids on the spectrum who have a lot of sensory issues, because I didn't really think I had sensory issues before that. And I really don't think I did. But like going to the grocery store during that time was overwhelming to me. All the fluorescent lights and the noises and the people and the crowded aisles. I can't even believe I'm saying that now because I don't feel that way at all now. But during that time, and one of my favorite things to do is to go to movies. I
mhm.
could not go to a movie during that time.
Hmm.
Just it was so loud in there and the screen felt big, the auditorium felt big, something about the sounds. So when I hear, you know, kids on the spectrum or just other people having sensory overload, or they just can't tolerate a lot of noises or a lot of commotion, a lot of lights. Now I get it.
Right, right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You had
Mm-hmm.
also talked in the book about the difference of support for people that have a physical condition like cancer
Yes.
versus
Oh,
a
yes.
mental condition, and
Yes.
the support which you also you're very forward in the book of, I didn't ask for the support, but yet I was jealous, this
Yes.
person
Yes.
and the support they
Yes.
got through their breast cancer as you're going through
Yes.
your panic attacks.
Yes. Yes.
So what did people do? Because people always want to help a friend
Yes.
or a family
Yes.
member. What
Yes.
did people do for you that helped you the most through those 6 years?
Um, Well, through those 6 years, I didn't share my story to a lot of people. Um, I shared it with a handful of really good friends. So those really good friends like would call me and check up on me. How you doing? How did the day go? They would just listen to me. They would send me little encouraging notes during the day. They would get together with me with their little young children and my young children and kind of help out that way, or swap and have play dates so that I could have a little downtime just to kind of relax, but I never could relax. I really didn't like being alone. So, I don't know, but they were trying. And or I remember one day one of my friends just said, let's go to the mall and just hang out. It was a really, really rough day for me, and I could hardly talk with her that day. But that was okay. She just kind of I think we went to a Cinnabon place and we just sat there and we didn't even talk. We just were in the same space together. And that just made me feel better. Another friend and I took a little weekend getaway to Williamsburg. And even though it was really super anxiety producing, I didn't know if, I felt like I was trapped in the car, really congested traffic. I just wanted to say so badly, let's turn around and go home. But we kept going, and that was a special time. And so I would say friends shared their time with me. They checked in on me. They encouraged me. They prayed for me. They were there for me. Yeah, which I really appreciated. Yeah.
Very neat. Very
Mhm.
neat. I think it's interesting people that have the capacity to sit in silence with somebody.
Yes, I know. I know.
Because so often that's what people need is just somebody to be there, not
Just
do
be
anything, just
no.
be right beside them.
Yes,
Not
right.
have to be entertained, not have to.
No, I know. I know. That
I
doesn't
think.
happen very often because, it is a little bit uncomfortable normally, but
Mhm,
there are those times that that's exactly what you need. And for a
right.
friend to realize that and be okay with that was a wonderful gift. Mhm.
Which goes to my next question. As a person who taught and then supervising educators and teachers, what did you do to encourage teachers and students to be courageous?
Hmm. Well, our staff went through, mm, I think, a book study that Carol Dweck wrote on mindsets. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but and it's been around for a while. But she wrote a book talking about children and their accomplishments and adults and their accomplishments, and so she talked about two very different mindsets. One, a fixed mindset,
Mhm.
which is very limiting. And that fixed mindset is, well, we've never done like that before, or, just, yeah, I was born with a certain IQ. That's what I have. I have to work within that frame or certain abilities. Just kind of very, this is the way it is, as opposed to the growth mindset, whereas, well, yeah, I don't know how to do that yet, but I'm going to try to learn how to do that. And that's okay. And so we really encourage students to adopt that growth mindset, and I really encourage teachers to utilize that growth mindset and take risks, um, step out there and be courageous, take risks because, I didn't even like to use the word if you fail because that kind of negative comment, uh, connotation. But if it doesn't go the way you were hoping it would, that's okay. We learn from it. Everybody learns from their experiences, whether it went the way you wanted it to or not. We learn.
Mhm.
And that's a good thing. So I just think reinforcing that over and over and over and not getting upset when something didn't go quite right. I remember one time when I was young, I think I was like 27, 26, 27, and we were living down in Chattanooga, and I was a early childhood supervisor, and I know, we were doing contracts with a private clinic, and I remember doing something crazy, and and it cost the district $500, which back then was a lot of money, you know, and I just remember feeling so bad about that because it was definitely an oversight, a mistake, whatever you want to call it. But my supervisor at that time, she said, yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, it's a mistake, but it's okay. Just learn from it. And that meant so much to me. And I thought, what a great leader and a great boss, you know, that she didn't get upset at me. And so I tried to remember that experience and that feeling that I had. I just felt awful. But I was so appreciative of her reaction. And so anyway, I just tried to, teachers encourage students, you know, tried to encourage staff to just, it's okay to take risks. Let's take risks. And then I take risks, and they could see that sometimes my things didn't, you know, turn out all the greatest, but it's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So
So,
that's what comes to my mind the most that I did, I would say.
yeah. So, Jeannie, how do you define courage and why does courage matter?
Uh, for me, the definition would be that you you keep going even though you're afraid. You have the courage just to go through whatever it is, or to take an action, or to have a conversation, or, you know, to step out there and face whatever that fear is. Maybe not in a huge way, but courage can be baby steps too. You know, in my book, about Annie's 4th of July, Annie took a baby step, and you know, she was kind of afraid to ride those big, high, fast rides, but in the end, she did ride one ride, and that was a step of courage for her. So sometimes, you know, taking those baby steps um, get us on the path to being courageous. So why does it matter? Because I think if you didn't have courage, you wouldn't grow. If I didn't have courage, I would just kind of stay on a plateau and not risk anything, not grow, not change. Um, you know, and that's not who I want to be. And I don't think if none of us, you know, why does it matter? We all need to be courageous and keep trying, keep going, keep risking.
Jeannie, what
Mhm.
spark do you want to be in the world?
What spark? Um, okay, so I would like to ignite in people um, just to have meaningful, positive relationships with each other. Um, with that's when I think about, because I'm getting older now, you know, and you think about at the end of your life, you know, what am I going to look back on and say was important? Well, it's the relationships I have with my family, first of all, with my friends, with just those that I interact with, you know, when I was working with my staff, my colleagues, you know, I just think life is about relationships. And, you know, when I was working, you know, you read about teachers and making a difference. You know, they always say, oh, you want to make a difference. Well, you will make a difference. And I would talk to the teachers about, do you want to have a relationship where students feel positively about you or negatively? You know, because you will have, I mean, it's just natural. You develop a relationship, and I would say positive relationships. So I hope I will, you know, ignite or encourage the development of meaningful, positive, authentic relationships with those in our sphere of influence, wherever that might be. So,
Very cool. Very cool. What will be better in the world because Jeannie was here?
Well, I don't have visions or dreams of, making a big worldwide impact, but I just hope my family is loving, caring, kind, and they already are. But I hope that through my role modeling and my influence, they will just become that those characteristics will just be a part of them and the way that they care for each other and interact with each other.
So, Jeannie, what's next?
Boy, I don't. Oh, I really have been asking God that really because, I'm in my early 70s. I don't know how much more productive time I have left. And so I do wonder what the time I have left, how do I really want to use it? And how does God really want me to use it? And so I've been trying to listen and think about that. But um, definitely one big thing for me is I just hope to keep developing a close relationship with my grandchildren because I mean they're growing up so fast. They're 9, 7, 5, and almost 2 now. And I know because of watching my daughters and other people's children grow up, if you haven't established that strong bond when they're young, you probably won't get to be, as helpful to them when they go through those hard adolescent years as if, so I really want to, be close to them now and they're then hopefully help them through some bumpy roads ahead, maybe. Um, so just spending time with them, being available for them is what I want to do next. Also, being available to my husband. We haven't talked about that, but he has had some major medical issues. 10 years ago, he had a liver transplant, and then a year ago, this past February, he had a heart and kidney transplants. So just supporting him, being there for him, is really important. He's a sweet man. I would like to, well, and in that regard, I do want to kind of rewrite It's Too Soon to Quit to include some of his medical stuff and how God had miracles happen on his journey. And that was really powerful to watch and be a part of. I would like to write a couple more children's books. I really had fun doing that. I mean, I've got ideas in my head. It's just kind of zeroing in on, well, which book do I think I should, which story do I think I should write? So, I don't know. I've always loved exercising. I play pickleball. I have been a jogger for over 45 years, but I've had some issues the last 4 months and haven't been able to, but I don't know if I want to get back into that or just walk. I love jogging, but there again, at this age, I think it's probably better for my joints not to do that. So trying to figure that out. But my life is very, very full. I think there are a lot of things that'll be next. I want to travel. I'm looking forward to going out to the Believe Live or whatever you call it, training. So meeting the fellow authors that I've gotten kind of acquainted with, and Miriam and her staff, and you, and I'm just really looking forward to that in September. So
Just as Annie's face is illuminated, we are definitely illuminated by your light.
oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that so much, Tammy. Yeah.
So
We
it has
we
been
connect soul to soul.
yes, we are connecting soul to soul. That's what all of this is about. And so many people are going to benefit from your story,
Thank
of
you.
what you've gone through. And thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And then, of course, our kids are going to benefit from Annie's 4th of July. And thank you. Thank you very
Yes,
much for the
you're
influence you
welcome.
have.
Yes, you are very welcome. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening and being inspired to exercise your own courage muscle. Please leave us a rating on whatever platform you are listening. For even more, you can go to www.authormyday.com. Remember, you only have this one life, this one day, so always author your day. Thanks for listening to Pass It On, connecting soul to soul.